Yeah.
I don't need him running in here in my bedroom.
Oh.
And tell him to wait on me. He can get his ass on wait for me.
I'm gonna tell him. Feeling. Oh, 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 feeling. Oh, good morning, good morning, morning to everybody. Pray peace upon y'all families this morning. Pray peace upon those who are incarcerated, men, women, and teenagers. Pray that those mothers had a great Mother's Day. And those white girls was they was in third. We was in third ward at a party, and they was walking the neighborhood, ministering in the word of God. And uh, I spoke to them, and that was it because we talked for about an hour. We talked about an hour about God, and I really had a nice time talking to the young ladies. It was really good. Yeah, them two of my new fans. Uh, that was an okay day, day before Mother's Day, and the party we had went to was an all woman party. It had some men and some kids there, but it was an all woman party, and we really had a nice time eating crawfish and things like that. But life after life in prison. I thought about this because I did a lot of time with a lot of men that had life, and I knew men that used to be on death row and had got a lesser sentence from death row to life. To meet someone that was on death row and say they may have been on death row for over 4 or 5 years, that's a long time on death row, knowing that death is about to take you. And I had opportunity to deal with a lot of these characters and get a lot of their insight on serving their sentences and how they conducted themselves in doing them. Life is what it is. Life. Life. And those are letters that they give you in the court. And just to think about such a sentence, life. And a lot of guys I met that had life really wasn't bad actors. They may have been at the beginning of their time, but they learned how to live in prison because they life. And so many of them felt as they would never get out. And that feeling right there, thinking that you'll never get out of prison, doing so long. But even on life, you can make parole even on life. I knew some dudes that was had made parole on life and came back on violations, and I knew some dudes with life that didn't mean nobody no good. They were raping boys. Some had punks that they was calling their wives, and they were they was a stand up crew of people that all of them wasn't the same. All the life sentences cats wasn't even the same. They didn't have that same mindset of serving that life sentence in such a way, raping boys. I had a partner, and he had life, and he had been locked up already about 30 years, and that's all he knew. He didn't have no education. He just his way of doing time was running in somebody's house. Oh man, ain't that something? Well, you gotta hook yourself up. You gotta get on that plenty of fish. Get on that plenty of fish. They got a gang of white girls. Get on that plenty of fish. They got a gang of white girls. But to to have life in prison at an early stage in a person's life that is young, you just don't see no freedom at the beginning. At the beginning, you just don't see no freedom, right? You go down, some go down with their lives, they come through the door, slapping dudes, fighting dudes, because they got life, so they feel that, hey man, I got life, man, get out my way. But everybody doing time. Everybody doing time, no matter how much time you have, everybody is doing time in their places. But the life sons cats are separated from the bunch because they got life. And you like, man, how much time you got? I got life. And serious. I got life. Okay. I got 45. Nigga, I got a gang of time too. Shit, I gotta do some years. So it's what what's your attitude? Cause you got a gang of years. Yeah, I got a lot of years too. That's how I'm feeling, right? But I never had a fight with anybody that had life. I never really had a personal vendetta against anyone that had life. Like I say, I had knew of several people that had life that I ran with, and they did their time knowing that it's a possibility that they might not get out. And that's that mindset that they have, that they keep, so that when they come up for parole and they be denied, they feel as though they haven't been let down, because all the time that's how they felt anyway. They wasn't gonna make it. Cause some of the men that was on death row and they gave them life had some real bad criminal cases. Some real bad criminal cases that, maybe they should have been on death row. But they they seem, once they grow old with them life sentences, once they grow old with them life sentences, they really is so settled in doing time that they'll snitch on you. They'll cause they don't want to get out their comfort zone. If they somewhere where they want to be and they don't want to leave because they get institutionalized or real heavily, they'll tell it on you to keep their comfort zone, because they feel like they got life and they not going nowhere. So that's their domain. That's their permanent address. So they ain't not trying to hear nothing behind no dude that's can make parole with some time. They ain't got no that. And some of them don't have no patience with you. Some of them don't have no patience with you. Some of them, I knew a guy. He was a blood, and they called him Red Rum. Red Rum, I think, had more than one life, and that the time before he finally realized on how he needed to do his time, Red Rum was whooping them laws, whooping inmates. Red Rum was considered as the most dangerous man on that facility at that time. And even after he calmed down, even after he stopped being the way that he used to be, they used to tell and warn new boots about this man to stay out of his way because he was easily to be clicked. And more so because he had so much time. So much time make you get out of character. It'll make you get out of character easily. And just knowing these men with these life sentences that has really made themselves comfortable in prison, really made them a safe kid in prison, they become so institutionalized that when they come, if they did make parole, they'll go out and come right back because they so institutionalized and they just feel like they can't make it out there in society, you know. And these are men that had life and did a lot of time on it, and some gang members and all that, but life in prison is not something that that's real easily to accept. I would say it's not too easily to accept because listen to me, life, doing time, knowing you have life, knowing that parole date or whatever is not secure, is not close, is is far way off, and you have to do so many more years, and after doing so many, that you the possibility of you're not gonna make parole because you got life, and that used to be a real hang up in parole, men and women with life sentences, but I think more so in today's time, when people, men and women, have done something with themselves while doing time with life, they make parole because of they standard and the things that they accomplish and the things that they have gotten into. See that them people look at what you do, what you participate in, what you accomplish, what they look at that, and so when they look at a person with life and done accumulated all these things, well, they give them an opportunity to go to the streets, and more so, these kind of men and women make it in society because they did something for themselves out inside instead of just being a person with a life sentence. Do so many things that going to really mess you up. Doing time with them, noticing how they do time. If you was placed in a cell with a person with a life sentence, they the aroma of a cellmate is totally different than any other because they have a life sentence. They have a life, and that's that mentality, that concept that they have when they dealing with other inmates. They really try to separate themselves in a category that is no different than a person with 5 years. It's no different than a person with 5 years because everybody has time. Everybody got time. So when we paying attention, right, of what's going on in our life, inside the walls or outside the walls. We hooked up already with life. We hooked up already with life because so many of us getting in, coming in and getting out and coming back. We already hooked up with life. We can't stay away. We can't stay away from prison. Hey, y'all been telling everybody about that just release? Y'all been telling people about that just release? Tell them hit that like button. Tell them hit that like button and share, huh? Tell them hit that like button. Ain't nothing wrong with it. But I had a partner, and I think him and his brother used to be on death row, and both of them come off of death row and was given life sentences. Well, one of the brothers, they was transferring one of the brothers to the Styles unit to come and visit his brother, both having life. So, process of transferring the brother to the facility, he ended up escaping. He ended up escaping, and it was a hell of an escape because he took the pistol from one of the guards in order to retrieve the other one out of his weapons, and then was able to escape. Uh, I knew some white guys. They had life. Two partners. They ran together all the time. This was back on East Ham, back in the day. Well, these guys here felt like, man, it was time. It was enough. Was enough. They had to get out of there. And so what they did was they took their white uniforms and they painted them the color of TDC officer clothes, as if they was wearing TDC uniforms. Well, what they did was, being that the turnout going to the laundry or the garment factory, the turnout boss, he really never checked the roster, so he basically felt like he knew everybody that was coming through there, so he let them through. So when they came through the turnout and got around by the laundry, they changed clothes and got on top of the rooftop. Officer cars up and left the facility with life sentences. They tried to think of ways to do things in prison, even if it's still to escape. Well, this is Andre Wade with Just Release, and I just inspire you all to just ask somebody to subscribe and hit them like buttons. Hit them like buttons, because ain't no telling what I might come back with next.